doing out there in YouTube world and in cyberspace? My name is Jacqueline Anderson. Yeah, you guessed it. Everybody calls me Jackie. So if we ever meet up or chit chat online, feel free to do the same. But I appreciate you checking out my channel and tuning in today. I have the pleasure of interviewing Ms. Bria Sneed, who is a certified public accountant. So thank you, Bria, for being here and being willing to share your CPA exam experience and how you're using those credentials in your career today. So we're going to kick things off with the very first question, which is, what is your name? What's actually printed on your birth certificate?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Bria Sneed. Just as Jackie said, it's not Brianna. It's not Brianne. It can be Brie. We can go shorter, but we're not going to go longer, okay? So Bria Sneed is my name.
Great. All right. What is your current age and where are you from?
I am 24 years old. I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, but I was pretty much raised in Arlington, Texas. I moved to Arlington when I was about 6 years old.
Gotcha. She's from the big state of Texas.
Yes, ma'am. You already know.
Gotcha, which is where I'm from. Cool. All righty. What age did you become a CPA? And is that where you were initially licensed? And do you have reciprocity anywhere else?
So I was 23. So I got my CPA exactly a year ago. In Texas. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank God I finally got it. But Texas has reciprocity in other states. I mean, the other states, they may have some rules, but I should be good to go anywhere else in practice.
Gotcha. Okay. And what is your state issued CPA license number? Because I know it's near and dear to your heart and probably fresh on your mind since you just recently obtained those credentials.
Yes, ma'am. And I know it by heart. It's 115197.
All righty. Okay. Do you happen to have it? Because definitely.
I do. We have this. So this is what they send us. It's literally a little bitty card. It's like a little piece of paper. You're supposed to get it laminated. But when I received this, Jackie, I was like, this is all I get, like, for all this hard work. Like, if you see my little frames in the back, it has like my degrees and it has my license. I just have it sitting up there, but I'm really supposed to laminate it, make it all pretty, and I haven't done that yet.
You would think you would at least get some big certificate, something you can frame as you get, like, as you reference your degrees behind you. But
I'm just saying,
this for all those hours and time you put in.
Girl, I do. So I do have my license back there. It's the one in the middle. It's like the actual certificate.
Okay.
It's just the card that, I mean, I don't really use it for anything. I guess it's just to show that you're official, like a driver's license or something, but I don't use it for anything.
Good to have. That's great.
Yeah.
So what city, state do you currently live?
I am still in Arlington, Texas. But that may change. I'm thinking about moving in December. I'm thinking about, I don't know if I can live in Dallas. It's a little bit too quick, fast paced for me. So I may be able to go to Las Colinas. I don't know yet. But I've been in Arlington, almost 20 years since I'm 24. And I can't stay here forever.
I was going to say, for those who don't know, that's really not that far.
It's not.
The Metroplex of Dallas, where she said Las Colinas.
Okay, it's about 15 minutes. It's about 15 minutes, but it's still like, I think I just need to change my environment. Like, I know everything in Arlington. Like, I'm constantly seeing the same streets and freeways. Las Colinas, I would at least have to use my GPS, you know? So it's a little different. Come on.
I'll give you that. Fresh start. Baby steps.
Baby steps, yes. And then we may get to go a little further. We'll see.
I got you. Okay, so what college or university did you attend?
I went to the University of Texas at Arlington. You see what I mean? Arlington. It's just all Arlington.
So you stay right around the Metroplex. Then straight.
Yes, but so one thing about that is I initially wanted to go to Baylor. I actually got accepted into Baylor and UCLA. Couldn't afford that, girl. They was not trying to give your girl no money. So it's funny because it was, I'm gonna say, a couple of weeks before the deadline, I applied to UTA and I got in, of course, but I did not plan on going there. And so I told my mom, I actually graduated high school early, so I was 17, and I know, right, girl?
Here, go ahead, check.
I don't be playing, honey. I do not be playing. But I told my mom, I was like, I was so ready to get out the house. You know, you think you're grown and all that stuff. And so I was like, I'm not staying here. Like, I know I'm going to school down the street, literally like 10 minutes away. But I was like, I got to stay on campus. I need that college lifestyle and all that. So I still stayed I stayed on campus and went to UTA. And whew,
That's
that's a
good.
whole
Great
nother
school.
story.
Okay, well, you can share as much as you like, but moving on. So what was your actual major or degree did you end up getting? And or did you go on to graduate school too under your degrees?
Yes. So at UTA, I got a degree in accounting, a bachelor's in accounting. And then, like, during that time, it was introduced to me that they had like a fast track program for your master's. So there was like, I'm trying to remember because it's been so long ago, and I try to forget everything that had to do with school because I'm done. But I do think there was 4 classes that you had to make 2 A's and 2 B's in. I don't remember what the classes were, but that qualified you to be in the fast track program. And what that did was like double dip classes for your bachelor's and your master's so you could finish it quickly. And so I completed those classes and I was able to get accepted into the fast track program. So it's designed for you to be able to get your bachelor's and your master's in 5 years. I actually got a full-time job after I got my bachelor's. So it took me half a semester more, so 5.5 years in total. But again, that's another story because I was pretty upset at that. You see, I'm like rushing, trying to get everything at a young age. And but I did end up getting my master's at UTA as well.
And going through that fast track, were you intentional about obtaining a CPA, that was your end goal at that time?
I actually don't remember when it clicked that I wanted my CPA. So like, I'm very goal oriented. So like I told you, I graduated early. That was my first goal. I want to graduate by the time I'm 17. Then I saw that the advantages were people were like, dang, you so young. And like, so that got me jobs and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I want to get my bachelor's by the time I'm 20. Then they gonna really think I'm, the stuff.
Okay.
And so I did that. Then I was like, okay, well, if I can get my master's by the time I'm 21, they ain't gonna know what to do with your girl. Like, they gonna really think, And so it wasn't until maybe it was before I started my master's program. Once I started taking all the hard accounting classes, because UTA is no joke. Like, a lot of people, it's not UT Austin, it's not those big schools, but their accounting program is hard. Okay. Like, honestly, to this day, I would tell this to anybody. I think my master's at UTA was harder than getting my CPA. And we can go into that, but it was hard. And the reason why it's hard is because they make sure that all the master accounting professors are CPAs. So it's not like, at some schools, they'll have what's called like maybe like a test bank, and like all the professors will go and pull questions for the test out of that test bank or whatever.
Okay.
No, these are CPAs. They create their own questions, so it was hard. So it was like, maybe I'm gonna say junior year, where I started, being exposed to those professors, and I was like, all of them were CPAs, and they were talking about how you need to get your CPA, you need to get your CPA. So I was like, all right, well, let me add that on. My next goal is getting my master's, but let me go ahead and add an additional goal to get my CPA on top of that, and it just went from there.
Gotcha. Okay, so right out of school, were you already qualified to have the 150 hours to test?
After my master's, yes.
You decided to, if that was what you wanted to do?
Yes, right. And so, like, I know some people in my program, they started studying for the CPA like during their master's, because like I qualified before I finished my master's, but I'm just the type of person, like, I got to focus on one thing at a time. I got to be able to give 100%. So like I said, my master's was hard. There was no way I was going to be able to give 100% to my master's, 100% to studying for the CPA. I was working a full-time job. So I was like, I'm going to just wait until I graduate. Till I graduated. So when I graduated in May of 2018 with my master's, started studying for my CPA in June. Like, I wasn't playing no games, and I was tired. I was already burnt out. I was done. But I was like, if you stop, you're not going to do it. Like, I know there are stories where people, I waited 5 years and I went back and did it, or I waited 15 years. I'm not built like that. I'm sorry. Like, it got to be fresh on my brain. Like, because once I lose it, I'm done. I'm done. And it's just going to be too hard to get it back,
Okay, well, we'll delve into that more. But right now, where do you currently work? Or what type of environment? Is it corporate, government, public accounting? Are you an entrepreneur, or are you already giving back in the academic setting?
So right now I work in industry. So I work for a private equity company, a very small company. It's probably like 30 people that work at the company. I'm what's called an accounting associate. So I work directly with the controller and the CFO of the company. We are literally the only 3 accountants for the entire company. So yeah. I didn't want to go into public. Actually, I lied. I did want to go into public accounting, but when I graduated with my bachelor's, I was already interning at an oil and gas company, still industry, still not public accounting, and they hired me on full time. And, you know, I don't know if y'all know this, but oil and gas industry accounting, you get paid more, right? So I was not in the mood to go backwards, put it like that. Like, even when I was like, well, I want to get some hands-on experience with like taxes and audit and all that, but that pay gap, and I had a CPA and they were not trying to pay for it. So I was like, nope, we need to just jump to the next industry. It was between oil and gas, private equity, and like the health industry, because I think health, you know, they pay a little bit too, but I'm happy where I'm at now. I don't have any regrets. But on the flip side of that, I have started a side business as well. It's my accounting business. And after I got my CPA, Jackie, I didn't know what to do with my life. I had been grinding for years and years and years. And I was just like, what do I do now? Like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. I had too much free time on my hands. So I was like, well, guess this is the time to start my business. So I'm in the little entrepreneurial route as well. I mean, I don't call myself that yet because I'm still working for a full-time, for a company full-time, but that is the goal. So right now my services are, I have a passion for doing budgets for people. I love like getting people's life together. Financial literacy is my thing. Like, this being bad with money, generation after generation, I'm trying to change that. So that's a part of my business. I do bookkeeping for businesses. I do taxes, and that's all me trying to keep my my skill set up, because there's some things that I don't do at my full-time job that a CPA would do. So I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping up with, you know, the skill set.
So since you said that, is there a specific area that you want to learn more, actually specialize in?
I'm gonna say taxes. Now, it's so funny you say that, because like tax regulation was one of the first exams I studied for. And it was because I had finished my tax class and my master's, and I was like, this is fresh on my brain. I need to hear it and take this test. That was back in 2018, Jackie. It's 2020. Okay, so all that stuff I learned, like I'll get clients and like, hey, how should I do this? Or how should I account for this? Or should I do this? And I'm just like, oh, I remember that, but it's been a minute. Like, I don't remember. If you don't use it, you lose it. Like, that's just period, point blank. Like, you will lose it. So I want to get to a point to where I do specialize in tax, but that'll take a minute. Like, tax is a lot. And it changes every year, so you got to keep up. Like, what I'm learning is, I thought when I finished, and this is what a lot of people think, you think you finish your CPA and you're done. Like, the studying, whoo, I'm done. I ain't got to study no more. No, it is a constant study, battle, all of that. Like, I'm constantly researching every day on taxes and stuff, trying to either see the new rules or refresh myself on the stuff that I learned when I took the test. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Right. And in addition to that, in your own interest, you have the requirement to maintain your license. I'm not sure how many hours Texas requires, but you have to get your continuing education units as well.
Let me tell you how many they require, Jackie. It's 120, a minimum of 20 per year. So yeah. Now look, so when I got my CPA in 2019, I was exempt from that until my birthday of this year. So I didn't have to get any hours. I guess they say, well, you didn't work this hard to get your CPA. We're not gonna make you take the classes and get extra credits and stuff. So my trial period, I guess, for my credit hours started in March 2020. And so hopefully I haven't looked up the rules. I'm horrible. I think I got until March 2021 to get the minimum of 20 hours, but 3 years from that start date, I need my 120 hours.
Right. In addition to keeping yourself caught up and abreast of what's changing, you're required to by the state as well. So it is a big commitment after
it's a big commitment. It is.
Studying and passing the exams. So we'll talk about the actual exam. So what review course did you use, and what factored into that decision? Price, the reputation of the review program or the convenience?
All the above. So I used Becker. Becker is the main one. I mean, even if you don't do accounting, you know about Becker. Like Becker is everybody's go-to. The price was very pricey. I think at the time, like I said, after years and years, I don't really remember, but I really think it was about $3,000 or $3,500 at the time, and I was just like, whoa. But Becker would come into our course or our classes, and like they had a spokesperson, one who was trying to sell it, tell you why you should use Becker and all that. And like at the time, if you signed up for it, like whenever she came in, you would get half off. So I think it was maybe I had my prices on, but let's just say it was $1,500. Okay, like because I got half off. Well, at that time I was working full time in my job, and they do reimburse you for that. So I was just blessed during that whole time. One, I got half off, and two, my job paid for it. So that was a big blessing.
Was it the bundle? Did you buy everything, all 4 sections at one time? And
everything. Yes.
Flashcards. Did you?
See, okay, maybe not flashcards. I did buy the bundle. So what I did was I bought whatever came with live courses and like the lectures and stuff. And it turned out, girl, I went to one lecture in person. I said never again. Oh no, ma'am. 8 hours straight of this. It was too quick. I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. But yeah, I did the bundle. It was great. I love Becker. Like, I mean, the way I studied was a little intense, but Becker was definitely the way to go. There was options to do like Roger and Gleim and stuff, but like it just wasn't enough spokespeople for them. Like it was some people saying it's much better than Becker, and like I was just like, I'm sorry if 90% of people telling me to do Becker, I'm going to go with Becker. Like, you know.
And during that time, you did have the option of in-person live classroom. You didn't necessarily have to do the self-paced online or recorded videos. You could have gone to a location if you chose.
I could. And what's funny about that is I'm a very hands-on person. So I need someone. I need to be in front of you. I need you writing on the board. Like I need to see you. I want to hear you and all that. So I told myself, there is no way I could do self-paced. Y'all are crazy. Like, no, I need to go to a live class. And I learned very quickly that no, self-paced was the best way to go for me because it's self-paced. Like I could map everything out. When you go to those live classes, I think it was like maybe you go twice a weekend for like maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. And so you got to think about it. Like my first one was regulation. So there was 10 chapters in regulation. You cram in 2 chapters like in a weekend? That's like 15 modules or so. It was way too quick for me. Like way too quick.
Okay. Well, we'll establish a timeline then where you can tell us about the various sections and how long it took you. But when you started, can you tell us at what point or how long ago did you start the CPA exam journey and how long it took?
Okay, so I started June 2018, right after I got my master's, and I finished by June of 2019. I mean, I didn't get my license till July 2019, but I finished in June 2019.
So you did yours in 12 months.
A year.
Overachiever. You have 18 months. She shaved off 6 months. She was in.
I did. Honestly, though, like a lot of people, like the real smart people, like the geniuses out there, they do it in like 6 months because they do that fast track where they, like I said, you go to the live classes for 5 weeks, boom, you test. Go 6 weeks, you test. That ain't me. I probably studied for each test for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months, each of them. And then I added up the year.
Okay, so can you tell us what order you took each section and if you had any retakes and how many you have, if you don't mind sharing?
No, I don't mind sharing at all because I'm a little happy about what I'm about to say. So I started with regulation, studied that one for about 3 months. Then I did financial. I did that one for about 2.5, 3 months. Then I did audit for about 2 months, and then I did BEC for a month and a half, and I passed them all on the first try.
Whoa, that
yes, ma'am.
Anybody watching this or okay, any idea about what it takes to be a CPA, that is phenomenal. There's a special
Thank
award,
you.
I think Elijah somebody award, right? That you get recognition in the accounting world. You know this. So tell us all about that. I'm sure you know.
No, actually, so I thought I was gonna get recognized for that. Like when I actually got my certification, I went to Austin like 6 months later after I got the certification, and the awards was going to people who like made the top, you know, scores or whatever. Like I'm like, y'all made 98 on this exam? How? Like how? Like I don't mind sharing my grades. I'll tell you because that show wasn't my grade. You know what I'm saying? So it was. I didn't. There was no award for like. I mean, from what I've known, there was no award.
Okay.
At least
Maybe
from.
it is if a certain score, but I think it's your first time out the gate too. There's some type of recognition.
I got no
Well,
recognition.
well, Jacqueline Anderson recognizes your great and phenomenal accomplishment from over here in Metro Atlanta. I know that is
Thank you.
a big deal.
Thank you. Yes, I honestly, girl, I'm telling you, it's by the grace of God. Because I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that, but it was not easy.
That is phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
That is huge. I am proud of you. Proud to hear
Thank you.
that. It's great, and that will motivate and inspire anybody just to hear that. So that is great. So you definitely share that. Tell people all about that. That's a big deal. So you didn't have any difficulty. My next question is
no. We're there.
Well, share
all of them. Every last one of them. So here's the thing.
Which one do you think, oh my goodness, maybe it was a fluke or I lucked out, or do you know I put in the work and
financial.
I deserve to pass that?
Financial was definitely the most. They all hard. That's why I hate saying like any of them are easier than the next, but financial was a beast. If I had to rank them by hardest to easiest, even though they're all extremely hard, financial would be the hardest, then regulation, then audit, then BEC, it's actually really funny. Matter of fact, I may switch BEC and audit, which is crazy. Audit, like I said, every teacher or professor at UTA were CPAs. My audit professor, he was harsh. Like he was extremely harsh. So when it came to studying for audit, I was like, oh, hold on. Like he didn't pounded this in our head. So it came a little bit more natural. Wow. BEC is supposed to be the easiest one because it's the shortest to study for. Sure. But everything in that book, the majority of what was in that book was all like finance and information technology, all the stuff I hate. I like accounting. That's it. Give me accounting, you know? And so that one was actually tough. Like it was tough for me because I was learning everything. It wasn't a refresher. I was learning it for the first time.
Gotcha. Well, you're a great teacher. So I see you being in the academic setting too at some point then, if you were able to teach yourself.
I want to. At some point. Girl, I have so many goals, so like that's on down the line. But yes, in the future at some point I would love to. But yeah, so you asked me obstacles, right? Like while studying. I'm sorry, I kind of got off topic.
Okay. So did you encounter any like life unexpected calls? Even though you 12 months, don't forget about that. People have been listening. She still had a 6-month cushion there, but did anything come up, or were you have to push back an exam?
So, my first one, regulation, it was hard, to study for, and it's so. I mean, I won't go into this, but I did I had a breakup during the time of studying for regulation. And honestly, that's the best thing that could have happened because I'm focused, on the exam or whatever. So regulation, I studied for 3 months straight. Everything was good. I was very disciplined. I was able to develop a study habit and all that stuff. So cool. I mean, it was hard to study for, but it was easy in the sense I'm just now starting to study. I'm completely focused and all that stuff. So regulation was cool. That was my highest grade. I ended up making an 8 on that one. Perfect. Cool.
Move. Cut out for a second, so I'm not quite sure if it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So just say that score again, just to make
86.
Sure. All right. Yeah. We don't
that was.
I want to make sure we capture that.
Look, you're like, no, we're gonna make sure. So I made an 8 that one. That was my highest score, and that was the most focused test that I had. And the reason why I say that is because financial came, and I started studying, and maybe a month into studying, I was working full time for the oil and gas company, as I mentioned before, and they converted to a new system. Now, mind you, so the company I worked for was ExxonMobil, but it was a subsidiary. It was called XTO Energy. Still very large company. So they were taking everything out of an old system, putting it into a brand new system, SAP, which is more efficient and better and all that. I'm not gonna say it's the worst experience of my life, because it kind of built me, made me better and more skillful and all that stuff. But we did that in the midst of me studying for the CPA. So I think, like I said, a month after studying, this system started, now we're about to go live, in the next month or so. So, hours started picking up and my studying started slowing down. And so like that one, and this is financial. I just told you that that's the hardest one. So I just knew I was going to fail that one. I was just like, oh my goodness, like it's getting busy. I'm not really focused. I'm not meeting my daily goals. Like there's no way I'm going to pass this one. I took it 79, passed it. The passing rate is 75.
Right.
I don't know how I passed that one, Jackie. I don't know. Here's the thing. So I'm very disciplined. So even if there's a lot going on, like with work and stuff, if my goal is to study 4 to 5 hours a day, I don't care how many hours I'm working, I'm going to study 4 to 5 hours a day. If that means I only sleep 4 hours or 5 hours, period. Like I got to meet my goal. Got to. So I still got all the material in, and that's one thing. Like we haven't got to like any recommendations, but I will say this: cover everything. Like so many people try to take this test and like skip around or not finish all the chapters. That test is hard. You at least need to see it once. So I made sure to still see everything once, and it just so happened. It worked. I don't know how, but that was that. And then the hours got even worse the next time. So remember I told you audit was one where my teacher just pounded that in my head, like literally. So I studied for audit probably the least hardest. Like I still met my daily goals, but I just wasn't as focused. That was my first time working 90 to 100-hour work weeks, and I'm not even working in public accounting, like at all. It was to the point where we was at work. I stayed at work till 2 a.m. sometimes, like, and then would get up and study for audit. Like it was horrible, but I still passed. I made a 79 on that one too, just so you know. I made a 79 on all tests except for regulation, because that's the one I got to study the most for. But the rest of them, I was like, look, C's get degrees, honey, so it is what it is.
And in the CPA world, did you pass?
I passed. That's all that matters. I passed. I passed.
75, 100, 86, 80. Did you pass?
I passed.
The card.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all everybody wants to know or will ever ask.
Yeah, so that's why I don't care. And I'm not ashamed, like, because I tell people my grade, because, some people may be like, dang, she's like really smart, and all this. And I want you to know, like, it is extremely hard. Like, just because I passed doesn't mean I made a 95 and like mastered it. No, it was hard, like that's why I keep saying by the grace of God, I passed, like literally. If I was able to study for all of them, if I was able to study for all of them like I did for regulation, that where I made the 86, I probably would have made, B's on all of them. But like, who cares? Certification is certification. So it is what it is.
You're working too.
And I was working. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Well, thank you for sharing that experience. So you talked about a little while ago about you were in class and there was a Becker spokesperson that came to the classes and you became familiar with the prices and what was offered. But at the same time, I think you mentioned you could be reimbursed with that. Mm-hmm. So you ended up paying out of pocket first. And then did you?
Okay. With that one, yes, I was. So I'm sorry. That's how it works with my past employer. You would pay for it yourself and then they will reimburse you. So like, they paid for my master's as well, but it took, like, you had to get your grades. And I know, right? Girl, I'm trying to tell you, I won't play no games. You would have to pay for it, and then like maybe 6 months after, or I'm sorry, once you got your grades back for that, then they would, reimburse you. But for Becker, you're not gonna get your test results for a while. So like, as soon as I signed up for Becker, they, reimbursed me probably like that next month.
Okay, so they did reimburse you for the training or the review course at one point. Then you started taking the exams. What were what was the policy at your company? Did they pay for multiple retakes, or did you have to pass all 4 and then they would reimburse you, or could you get reimbursed along the way? How did that work for you?
They reimburse you along the way. So from my understanding, I didn't have to retake
Oh,
them,
that
but
didn't apply
I
to
didn't
you.
have to retake them. But from my understanding, I think they paid for just any of the exams, like, and you got reimbursed for it. But the policy was after you get reimbursed, you had to stay for 12 months.
Okay.
So, like, mind you, I just said when I was studying for all the, like, the last 3 of my exams, that was in the midst of the new system and it was just getting harsh. I was ready to go. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get my reimbursement, but I ain't staying 12 months. So if y'all want me to pay the money back, at least I'm going to let y'all pay for it up front. And come time when it's time for me to leave, if you ask for the money, then I'll pay it then. Luckily they didn't ask for it.
Gotcha. But for anybody watching, keep in mind that may be the condition upon them reimbursing you.
Oh yeah, it's a benefit, right? So they're not gonna just want you to take all these exams and boom, you leave next month. No, you have to. Some companies it's 2 years. Mine was just 12 months.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, so what's your advice or tips on how to pass each exam out of the gate like you did, Miss Sneed?
So I would say, 1, be patient, don't rush it. Like I said, it took me a year. I was studying 2 to 3 months for each exam. I would take a little break, but get right back on it. Take your time. The more you rush it, you most likely won't pass. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's just you have to give yourself time to learn this stuff or refresh yourself, whatever the case may be. I would definitely say that you kind of need to have what I call daily goals. So a lot of people are just like, okay, I'm just gonna, it's 10 chapters. I think I want to finish in the next 2 months. Okay, cool. And then they just let that be their goal and they try to get there. Before you know it, you fell behind on some goals multiple times during that time frame or whatever. So you get to your test day and you're like, dang, I still got 2 chapters left. Like, cause you didn't have a daily goal. Like for me, I had a daily goal. I'm gonna do this many modules a day. And if I fell behind on my daily goal, I would try hard the next day to make up on that goal. So I was like kind of keeping up as I was going.
Stay on track.
If you don't want, I'm a little too serious, I'm a little intense, but if you don't want to do it like that, maybe a weekly goal, something like that. But
you have to be disciplined. Please. Yeah.
You really do have to be disciplined with this. Like,
if you're going
you have to be disciplined.
This road, you must be.
I had no life also. So, I'm harsh on people because people are like, dang, how did you pass on the first try? And I'm like, y'all, I didn't go nowhere. I didn't see nobody. I went to work. I came home. I studied, like literally. That was my life. You have to be okay with that. Some people will take vacations in between or do fun stuff. And I'm not against that. I'm just not built like that. In order for me to be disciplined, it's all or nothing for me, So I would just say, at least when you are going to study, be focused. You can't go back and forth, because when you go back and forth, then if you went out one night, got drunk, got a little tipsy or whatever, the next day, you're not going to be focused on that module. Boom, module that pop up on the test. You just have to be focused. For me, another way I studied is for Becker, you get a lecture, a skills. Actually, I'm speaking on this. I don't know how they do it now because I know they changed it. But when I did it, there was a lecture, a skills practice, multiple choice questions, practice tests, over all of that chapter, simulations, just they had flashcards too. I didn't use the flashcards, but I used everything in that system. I got my money's worth. Okay. So literally when I would study a module, hello, that's what I'm saying. I would literally, each module, lecture, I would do everything. I would lecture, and also I would read. Like a lot of people just like, I'll just watch a lecture, take a little notes. No, I would read, because what helped me the most is seeing it multiple times. It was some of that stuff I was just like, this is it was hard. But I would notice, okay, I watched a lecture hard, read the chapter hard, did the skills practice. Oh, that kind of makes a little bit more sense now. Did the multiple choice questions. Okay, it's starting to click now. Did the practice test, saw it again. It was a repetitive thing, and it just made it a little easier to, get through the material. Now, doing it like that takes lots of time, plenty of time. So the way I broke it up was, because if you study 4 to 5 hours at a time, at some point you're going to lose focus, energy, all that. So what I did was I would wake up early, study for an hour or two. I would study on my lunch breaks. Now I got a break in between. I'm working. So I like studied, worked, studied during my lunch break, worked again, and then maybe studied an hour after work or maybe 2 hours after work. I broke it up into chunks, and I made sure during those chunks I was doing something different. So it may be lecture in the morning, read during lunch, skills practice and multiple choice after work. Like I broke it up, and it just helps you like stay involved and not just get too bored with it, because the material can be boring. You know,
Right.
it's not all real life stuff. It's a book.
That's true. That is so true. But you talked about priorities. Do you mind sharing? And because at first, also you said you encountered a breakup during this period. Do you think that was something you sacrificed in order to devote the time required to pass the exams first time out? Understanding you need a support system around you. Those people, your family, boyfriends, husbands, people, wives and spouses, the people around you have to be understanding and support.
Yes, that is definitely true. That is not why I went through the breakup. That's a whole nother story. That was a horrible relationship. Okay. But I will say, like, if I don't know how I would have done it, like, let's say the relationship was perfect and, you know, we were together and I was studying and all that, like, you have to be with someone who can accept the fact that you can't, you know, like I said, you have no life. So there is no time to really go out. You can, you know, reward yourself, of course, but you can't be with someone who wants to occupy all your time, because they need to understand that studying comes first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You need someone that's gonna, if you're making flashcards, like read out the flashcards to you and like stuff like that, you know, like kind of help you study, kind of make it fun with you and all that. So like my support system, my family is very supportive, but like I'm one of those people, like I'm Miss Independent. I like to do things on my own. So I kind of just like, I have my own apartment. I just stayed to myself. I would come home and just, you know, do everything alone and all that stuff. But it made it easier for me because I didn't have anyone. Like when I was in a relationship, I would come home, clean up, you know, help cook and like do stuff, you know, that was for the relationship. And so that would have taken time away from my studying, and that would have also made me more tired to where when I finished I wouldn't want to study. So you just have to think about all of that. That's why I commend anyone who has kids and they're studying for this, who's married, you know, having all types of stuff going on. Like, this is no joke. So people are like, oh my God, you passed on the first try. Okay, but look at my circumstance. Like, I'm single, I'm alone. You know, I can do whatever I want when I want. Y'all have children, you got kids crying, steady. Like, that makes it really hard. So I commend y'all. I really do.
Well, thank you for making that point so people understand that, you know, what is involved in trying to prioritize your daily life.
Yes, you just
transparent about that.
For sure.
Gotcha. All right, so moving on to now your professional life and your career and how you're just ready to shoot for the moon and be big time with those 3 letters. So you already explained that you were at the oil and gas company while you were testing, but now you work for a private equity firm.
Private equity.
But while you were taking the test at the oil and gas, if you had stayed, do you think, or do you know if there was an opportunity for immediate advancement, or once you got, tell us about that, or did that factor into you looking for employment elsewhere?
See, now you're about to get me to be extra transparent. Okay, so I'm going to throw a disclaimer out there. Anyone studying for this, I recommend studying for it. I think it is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. However, like, I'm going to be transparent about once you get this license, because you have this thought process and this mindset of this is how it's going to be, and then it's just not. So I have to be honest. Okay. So, I got, you know, I was as a revenue accountant. Luckily, at the end of my time there, I kind of went into like a more, I'm not going to say a supervisory role because I didn't have the title, but I was that go-to person. Like I really loved the new system and all that. So I catched on really quickly. So I was that person everyone was coming to, and I had a group to kind of help manage and all that stuff. You would think, I'm about to get my CPA, I'm helping manage a group, like opportunity for advancement, like I'm gonna get promoted when I get this thing because now I got the title that comes with it. But you also have to think I also got a master's while I was at that company. Still no promotion, still no pay raise, no nothing. So I would talk to my supervisor or managers, and I'd be like, hey, so I'm about to get this CPA, is there going to be opportunity for promotion or maybe a raise? And they would tell me straight up, no. And they're like, in the future, they would tell you like in the future, like, so my company merged with ExxonMobil. So now they live in Houston and all that stuff. They were saying in the future, there's opportunities at what they call the campus, the ExxonMobil campus, where you have to have a CPA to be in certain roles. So like it can help you down the line there. But as far as now, like, no. And they was basically saying how, in industry, you get paid more anyways when you come in. So you're already compensated. Like, so I, with a CPA, was making less money than someone who came in just with a master's degree from like TCU or, UT Austin, because that when you work in corporate world, they look at things like it's based on the school you go to, and UTA was nothing to them. UT Arlington was like, oh, that's just a small school or whatever. So
Gotcha.
with a CPA, I'm making less than someone who, and honestly, I think I was making less than someone who came out with a bachelor's from one of those schools, especially if they graduated from Harvard. Yeah, I was done. Like, I'm definitely. So no, the CPA did not get me any promotions. And not just within the company I was working for, but when I was looking for a new job, I was like, well, maybe I made the mistake in, I started off in an oil and gas company as an intern. Then I got my bachelor's and my master's while I was still there. So maybe they don't want to give me a pay raise because I started off as an intern. Whereas if I would have came in with the master's, then I already have the credentials off top, so I would get paid more. No. When I started looking for jobs and stuff, I'm like, hey, I was waiting for my certification at the time, but I had passed everything. And they were telling me, like, you have your CPA, that's cool. We're very proud of you. However, you still don't have the experience that we want. So, like, I was a revenue accountant for almost 4 years. And no matter what position I applied for, it was just like, we care about your experience. We don't care about that certification. It's nice to have it, but you need the experience. We don't think you're capable of doing our financials or doing these different things because you need to get the experience first and then it'll come with that. And no, we're not going to pay you more for that. We can afford to pay you this based on your experience. So it's like experience trumped everything. Public accounting, I said, now there's no way I can go into public accounting as a CPA and they're just going to pay me, not a lot of money. Entry level, off top. It does not matter if you're a CPA or not. Someone can be graduating with their bachelor's degree and you come in as a CPA at the same time, but you haven't done public accounting and neither have they, so you're going to make the same amount. Maybe a little bit of difference, but I was just like, it blew my mind. Like, I just thought I was going to be like, woo, we got a CPA interviewing. Like, let's throw out the money. No, man, that's not how it works. Now, here's the kicker, though.
Okay.
The name means everything. Okay. The name is helping my side business. Like, people come to me just because I'm a CPA. The name is everything. It's all about name recognition. So the job that I work for, right? The job that I work for now, the controller and the CFO at the time were CPAs. So they're bringing in a third accountant. And even though I'm just an associate, we got a website up, we got pictures on the website and all that. They want our investors to know that they got some highly skilled people, right? So I really feel like the reason why I'm there today is because I got that CPA. Because now it's 3 CPAs that are, that's running the company and all that. It just makes them look good. So they knew like I was sharp and all that stuff, but at the same time, it was like the CPA is even a kicker. Like, that's perfect. So I honestly feel like that's why I'm there today. They said I interviewed well. I love my bosses. They said I interviewed well and all that stuff. But at the same time, I know that CPA was a plus. So it is good. It's just really name recognition. I will say that.
It opened the door or made way for that opportunity.
Yes, the opportunity.
In the company, internal. Well, based on that situation, do you think that it was different or would have been different if you interviewed off the street? If you coming in the door with those credentials, do you think that
I think it's much different.
more
Like if you,
compensated you?
yes, I think like I don't know if my job now, like I get paid very well, okay, but I'm in industry. So I don't know if I get paid really well because I'm in industry or because I came in with that CPA. You know what I'm saying? Like I really think it's both. Like coming in with the certification is definitely they're gonna pay you more, maybe a little, but you're not gonna know the difference, right? Like you don't know how they have their pay structure set up. But I definitely think, you know, if I was working for this company and it just had my master's and then got my CPA in the meantime, I think they would have kind of rolled it into like, you know, you get a raise every year and all that. So they probably would have gave me just a little bit higher of a raise. But my last company, one reason they justified not paying me more money with the CPA was because they reimburse you for college. You know, they have all these other benefits and they say like that is your pay raise. The thing is, you know, I went to UTA. UTA is not really expensive. Like they were paying for people to go to TCU. You know, that's $20,000-$30,000 and stuff. And so, of course, like that's like, dang, that's like a 15,000 extra per year salary kind of thing. But for you, UTA wasn't that much. Like they paid pennies for me to go to school. So you're not gonna try to say that that's increasing my salary. Like no.
Gotcha. But now where you are with the private equity firm, do you think your overall compensation package is in line with industry standards?
I do. I mean, yeah, like for private equity and oil and gas, that's where you go to get your worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the thing is, like, I could go in there, like I said, with a master's or whatever, and still kind of get paid the same as someone with a CPA. But yeah, I definitely think that's where I think they just pay very well. But when you go to public accounting industry standards, mm-mm,
No,
mm-mm.
no comparison.
But it really is worth it though. Like one thing is I kind of wish I say this, but like I really do wish I had that public accounting experience because everything I'm learning on my own in my own like little side business, I could have gotten that experience in public accounting. And it, you know, it just would have came and all that stuff. Like I would have had a company teaching me all that stuff. Right now I'm just learning everything on my own because I didn't take that route. So working for a big four, like if you can, I advocate for that any day. One, because again, it's that name recognition. Who cares? Like at the end of the day, coming to my job, the company I work for now, if I had worked for Deloitte, Ernst and Young, you know, KPMG, that would have been forget the CPA. You work for a big four company, like you know, there are multiple ways for you to get name recognition for a company to want you. It's not always a CPA.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a plus though. It's definitely a plus.
Well, that'll segue into what do you plan on doing with your CPA since you're in industry and you might get siloed there, and how are you going to use your credentials down the road or make sure you stay abreast and on top of what's going on in the industry, because you may not necessarily need to you have that skill set to do the job you're doing.
So one reason why I chose a small company, it didn't really matter what industry it was in. I chose a very small company because, like I said, I work directly with a controller and CFO. So we do everything. So like I'm invoicing people, I'm doing the bookkeeping, I'm helping with it. Like we don't do our own taxes, but I'm helping provide support to our tax people and stuff. I'm doing the financials. Like I'm making all the journal entries. My boss, she reviews my work. Like for the most part, I'm doing the majority of it. So I'm getting all this hands-on experience and I'm able to now take that and apply it to my side business, right? So if I'm saying I'm bookkeeping for people, a lot of it comes from the fact that I'm doing the bookkeeping for the company I work for now. So I'm gaining that knowledge and stuff. The part that I don't have the knowledge in is, like I said, taxes, because you know it's been a minute since I studied for it. So what I do, the way I'm trying to keep my skill set up is by offering these services in my side business, and that forces me to stay on top of the law, stay on top of things so that I don't lose it. So if I don't experience it at my full-time job, I'm using it in my, you know, my side business.
Gotcha. So I know you majored in accounting. Who exposed you to the world of accounting? Why did you choose accounting?
I was talking to my mom about this earlier because I was literally in the bed thinking about that. I was like, how did I even get here? Like, where did this come from? So It's funny. When I was in middle school, young, I always wanted to do some job that was going to help people. Okay. So at first I wanted to be a doctor, horrible at science. Can't do it. Then I said, well, I want to be a lawyer because I can help people. I took criminal justice in high school and I hated it. I was like, oh, this is horrible. Like, who wants to do this all day? So I was just like, this is not gonna work. So like I said, I graduated early in high school, so I only had 3 years to figure it out. So freshman year, they didn't make us really take any electives or whatever. So I took criminal justice my sophomore year, hated it, and I was like, I only have 1 more year to figure out what I want to go to school for. Like, I thought I was going to go to school and just be one of those people who figured it out later on. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. So it just so happened my senior year, it was random. Like, I really don't know what it was, but I was going through the electives and I was just like, I don't want to do none of this stuff. I don't want to do sociology. I don't want to do psychology. And I saw accounting and I was like, okay, well, math is my strongest subject, so why don't I just try accounting and see? Like, I know it's a little different, but let me just see. Took my accounting class my senior year. It just came so natural. Like, I love math, but this class was more of a like conceptual. You got to understand like debits and credits and the accounts and all that stuff. I mean, I was making hundreds, 99s, 98s on everything, and I was just like, it was fun, like, and I developed a passion for it. And honestly, I was thinking about this morning. I was telling my mom, I was like, I kind of want to go back to my high school and tell the teacher, like, hey, guess what? Like, I'm a CPA now. Like, and it's kind of because of you. Like, it's how you taught the class, that made me fall in love with it. And so it was nothing like that I've seen from family members. Like, I'm one of 2 people that have graduated in my family. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is me trying to break generational curses. So I'm learning as I go. And I just found out that accounting was a great profession and I had a passion for it. And honestly, it's hard. Like, accounting is hard as you keep going, but the reason why I was able to make it is because I have a passion for it. Like, it's natural.
Gosh,
I love it.
you should definitely reach out to your teacher and let her know.
I
Because
know.
feeling to know how she influenced someone and how well you're doing and what you've accomplished.
No, I know. And honestly, like, I was thinking, like I said, after I finished stuff, years later, it disappears. Like, I just lose it. So I don't know her name. I don't know if she still worked there. Like, I don't know. But it would be like, I'm going to do my research and see if I can find her, because I know, like, that, to me, I would want to know if I changed somebody's life like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't realize that, honestly, until like literally this morning. I was just like, dang, like, she is the reason why, I'm even here, because I had no idea what I was going to do when I went to school. And she taught this class, and like, I was just like, dang, like, I like this. I'm good at this. When you're good at something, you really develop a passion for it. So I was just like, okay, yeah, like, I would love to tell her, because I don't even know if she's a CPA. You know what I'm saying? So like, it would be amazing for her to know, like, dang, like, I contributed to your success. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so true. So in the workplace or over the years, have you established relationships with anyone that you would say is a mentor? Or have you done it pretty much on your own and figured it out, trial and error?
I, for the most part, have done it on my own. Like, I had a couple people at my last company that, first off, I'm all about the people. Okay. We got to keep it in the community. Like, I love getting advice from people who look like me. That's just me. So at my last job, there was only 2 Black supervisors, and that's a big deal because it's a big company, no one else. And I'm just like, dang, how is it only 2 Black supervisors at the company or whatever? So I kind of cling to them and kind of, pick their brain and stuff like that. But for the most part, no, I don't have a mentor. I created a business page on Instagram, and this is kind of how I'm marketing for like my business. Honestly, it's really to educate people too, because I feel like, if I have something that I can give back, like, I want people to be able to learn for free. Like, I'm not in the business to charge for everything. So a lady reached out to me from my Instagram page, the business page, and she kind of was just like, I see what you're doing, and I've been in the game for 20 years. I would love to talk to you. And we talked on like a call like this, a Zoom call, and just you know, everything I'm saying about the CPA and how it's just the name and like it's not everything it was all caked up to be, and like, you know, just experiences that she's had, like we clicked. And I was just like I've been thinking about her. It was like a month ago, and I've been thinking about her, and I'm just like, she would probably be like a bomb mentor. And so I reached out to her a few days ago and said, like, you know, would you want to be my mentor? Like, I mean, our conversation is kind of stuck, you know, and I'm really thinking about the things that we were talking about. And like, I think you would be great. She's in a different state and everything, but I just think like, you know, I do think I need one because, you know, I'm Miss Independent, want to do everything on my own, but I really think I need that support, especially when it comes to this, because my business is starting to take off a little bit and it is making me nervous, but it's also making me boss up, you know, so I would love to have somebody to lean on for support.
Do you think you want to stay in industry? Do you see yourself doing both? Having that secure, steady income and then working that side hustle as you call it? Or do you definitely at some point want to branch off? That's your true aspiration where you can delve into taxes and be that.
That's a great question. So the goal before, what we learned in school is climb up the corporate ladder, you know, become the CEO, CFO, or manager or whatever. But this, I don't know if it's the pandemic or just me growing up, my mindset is completely changing. Like I want to show, like I said, it's all about showing Black people that we can do this, y'all. Like we don't have to work for nobody. You know what I'm saying? We can do this. So because I feel like that's a part of my purpose, just being an inspiration, motivating people to do things differently than we learned to do as we were growing up or that we have done in the past. I do feel like I do want to stay in the company that I'm in, I think for a while. One, because I'm learning so much from them. And when you work for a company, you learn for free. You know what I'm saying? Like they not only are they paying you, but they already got the foundation down. They got all this. So you learning from them as you go. So I want to continue to learn from them. And it's private equity, so I get to invest, you know, in whatever we invest in. I get to do what the rich people do. So of course I want to do that, you know? That's a perk. Yes. So I'm just like, you know, I'm kind of torn because I do like this is the company and I love them. Like they are amazing. I never thought I would find a company where I actually, one, I told you I'm the only Black person, but I fit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can be look at my braids. Like, you know, like I would never wear this.
I like them.
Thank you, but it's like a bit much when you start a company like that. And I'm gonna be on the website, so you just want to make sure you feel like you can be yourself. But they constantly make me feel like I can. Like they embrace the culture and all that stuff. So to find a company like that, like I'm like, dang, like I would love to work for this company, you know, for the long term. But on the flip side, I still I want that entrepreneurial mindset. I want to build a legacy. I want this to grow and like be something. And now I'm doing both, but like as it starts to pick up, like how can I give my all to both sides? And I told you I like to give 100% to anything I'm doing. So I can't slack on the full-time job and give all to, you know, my side business. At some point, I'm gonna have to decide, and I don't know yet.
Well, I'm glad it's working out for you and you're not feeling like some of us that, oh, I need to just disconnect and cut that off as soon as possible. I'm glad you like your job and you feel like it's a good fit. They like you, you like them. So I would say stay in it as long as
I can, right?
Or meet your needs. And while you're growing your side business or your business, growing your business into what you want it to be, I won't call it a side business. So I think you got the best of both worlds. Again, that's another blessing. So I am, again, so proud to hear that. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
I've asked other people and will ask everybody I interview after you, how many Black CPAs did you know growing up? Like before you turned 18? All right. Which is pretty common in the Black community. Zero. And
Zero.
And in school, any of those instructors, were any of them Black?
Zero.
Now
I was probably just even in the accounting degree or like the business school or whatever, like I was I probably remember counting on one hand how many Black students I saw in those classes, like my entire college.
Students. Now, you referring to the students.
Just the students. Yeah,
Yeah.
no professors. Like, of course, they're Black professors, but not like accounting professors.
Gotcha.
And then the students, I probably only saw 5, and that was different classes. Some of them didn't even go the whole route, not a lot.
And now in your professional life, you may have come in contact with some or met people, but how many do you know now, Black CPAs, whether it's professionally or personally?
I don't meet them professionally. I meet them so kind of how me and you connected. I joined NABA. Last year I was slacking. Literally the post that you saw was my first post, and that was like 6 to 8 months after I joined. I wasn't active or anything. So I'm meeting CPAs through there, and that business page I told you about. So as I go and try to follow people, I'll type in accounting, and then I'll see that's a Black CPA right there. So we'll connect. Like the lady I'm telling you I want to be my mentor, she's a CPA. So that's social media. But in person, no.
It's very limited, which leads to my next question. As you can see, we're very underrepresented Black people, not minority, but of African descent. Black people underrepresented in this profession. Why do you think that is, and what can we do to encourage more students to major in accounting and increase the pass rates if they go on to pursue the CPA designation?
I think it's like you asked me about the support system. If you're asking what even made me be an accountant, or what got me interested in this, I lucked up. It was just a class I took in high school, and it just clicked, and it got harder, and I still had nobody to depend on. I just had me, So one, if Black people get interested in doing it, they don't stay with it because they don't have anybody that they can, talk to or help them with it or whatever. But it's just not common. So I think it takes people, like the organization NABA, I think it takes things like that, and exactly what you're doing. You're interviewing people who either have it or are in the midst of getting it. And it takes, once you tell your story and someone sees it, I had people reach out for me for my post at NABA that are actually studying for it, and they're just like, wow, I didn't think I could do this, and your story kind of helps, with what I'm going through. I think the mentor aspect is what's going to grow us or help us grow in this profession. All you got to see is that we can do it. You just need an example. And I don't think we have a lot of examples, or we do have a lot of examples, but now social media is exposing people, LinkedIn and even Facebook, you got the business pages now. So I think social media is expanding to a point where people are seeing dang, that's another Black CPA. Okay, hold on now. Maybe I can reach out to them and see, So I think it just wasn't like this, 20 years ago. But now it's becoming more common and frequent, and we just need to support each other for free.
You're like, oh, for free. They do exist. They are out there somewhere. It's not. They are. We are here.
I'm telling you, I didn't even know. You're asking, how many do I know? I get so surprised when I get on LinkedIn and someone will post, I passed all 4 sections and they're Black, and I'm like, yes, more accountants, more Black CPAs. I'm so proud. But I would never know that they exist had it not been for LinkedIn or, like I said, social media. So it takes groups like this, or, YouTube videos. It just takes, people need to see it. And people need to know that if they do go down this path, what comes with it. They need, because not everybody makes it,
Yeah, so thank you so much for being part of this foundation that I hope to build, where we can be a resource and reflection of Black CPAs, what we can do and what we are currently doing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm all here for it. That's a part of what I want to do.
Right. So a few of the last questions. So what does CPA or having CPA behind your name mean to you? Now that it's in the rearview mirror, you're living the life, you got your life back. And it seems like you have the best of both worlds, being in industry and being able to start your own business. What does it mean?
I hate to say this. I mean, I said it earlier. I got it, but since, like I said, it's so different now that I do have it. What it honestly means for me is name recognition. It just means that it's like, I don't want to call it a privilege, but you know, now when I speak to people as a Black woman in corporate world, I automatically get respect because I'm a CPA,
Okay.
which is crazy, right? I should get respect regardless, but they're just so interested in the fact that I'm a CPA and I'm a Black woman and I'm young, like I'm all types of different and all that stuff. So I just feel like it just helps me. It helps me just, it's like we feel like we have to prove ourselves as Black people, and I feel like now that I have a CPA, the proving is done. Like at the end of the day, you can try to make me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about or kind of make me feel stupid or whatever, but I got 3 degrees back there, or 2 degrees and a certification back there. So just look at me on paper. You know, I'm not arguing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I just it's really name recognition for me, and it's like I said, it's really helping my business. So at the end of the day, even though I'm saying it's different when you get it, like at the end of the day, when you have those 3 letters behind your name, respect. It means respect.
Okay. Sum it up in one word, respect. Okay.
Respect.
Awesome. So anything else you'd like to share or advice for our YouTube audience or aspiring CPAs or people who may have the credential but don't feel like they're living up to it or earning their potential?
I would just say, one, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to. One thing about me is I was always afraid to reach out to people. That's why I didn't have mentors and stuff. So I was always just like, oh, I'll just do it by myself, and have a support system. Like find people who have done this before and reach out to them and try to get advice, and just put yourself in a position where you know you're not alone, because this is hard. Like there was multiple times I wanted to quit. There were multiple times where I didn't think that I was going to graduate or I was going to pass each exam. I thought I was going to fail. I'm telling you that right now. Every single exam I thought I was going to fail. So you need to have somebody in your corner that's telling you, hey, I thought the same thing, but guess what? I passed. You know, so don't be afraid to reach out to people. Join organizations. I didn't do any organizations when I was in college. Like I literally was a loner, Jackie. I was a loner. Don't be like me. Network before you start this stuff. Like try to get some advice ahead of time. And for my people who are already CPAs, one thing I struggle with is, you know, people think you know everything. I don't know everything. Like I know I'm a CPA, but they automatically, ooh, she's smart. Like, so you'll get people that'll be like, you don't know that? Like, ain't you all a CPA? And they will literally say it just like that. And I'll just be like, okay, I'm still human. 2, I studied that years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you don't use it, you lose it. So don't be afraid to, like, don't feel down when people make you feel like you don't live up to your certification. Period. Like, because you do. You worked hard for it, and there's a reason why you have it. You may not remember everything from the book, but at the same time, you are still that person. Like you still worked your butt off to get that certification, and don't ever make anyone or let anyone make you feel like you're not worth it and all that. Because I've definitely had people do that to me. So I would definitely say that.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Bria Sneed, CPA at your service. Thank you for taking time out of your day, sharing your experience and encouraging us, because we know it was not easy, even though you made it seem that way.
No. That's look, we're gonna have to talk again so we can get into some specifics so you can know. No, it was not easy at all. But thank you for having me, Jackie. I really appreciate it.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
All
I'll
right.
see you next time, YouTube land, and check back on my channel.
Bye, everyone.